Yeah, I think when choosing a job, uh, you everybody should definitely think about the future of that field for 10, 20, 50 years for your whole career, because some obviously we know that some jobs are getting into danger territory. And for example, you mentioned accounting. Accounting is specifically a type of job that would be at the lower levels, would be, and it is already very easy to automate with, it's not even very high level AI to do some lower level accounting. Obviously there are going to be always some expert accountants who are supervising these accountings and checking the books as they do right now, but it is going to be like 90% less accountants needed. So this is one example, but there are many, many examples like this. And if you go to to ultra specialize in one of these fields, then it is going to be very tough. But the other question is that, okay, we say that we are saying that being a generalist and trying to become like a polyhistor can help you. I think we should think about the fact, the techniques that the people who became one of the greatest artists or leaders who were polyhistors, what was their method to become so great? Because the first thing that we would think about when we are thinking about being generalists or polyhistors is the fact that then you cannot become good in any of your fields if you are not sacrificing your life and investing everything in one field. How did Da Vinci and how did Benjamin Franklin do it? How did Elon Musk do it? I mean, I'm not sure if Elon Musk does. I mean, he has lots of different businesses, but the main shtick that he does is leading the businesses and having the business ideas and thinking about technology. So it's probably more. I mean, it's not that different, but yeah, how can these people develop in many directions? What do you think?
As far as I know, uh, they all had a long apprenticeship in all of the fields that they mastered. And then during those apprenticeships, they they were all in, all in on that one thing. So when they started to learn bookbinding, when they started to learn to draw, they were all in on that, and they focused basically only on developing those skills. And then as they progressed and started to really control their craft, they they could get to a point where discovery and looking outside was an option, and then they could move on to the next apprenticeship. So it was a line of incredibly high focus states, high focus periods, rather. Another example from architecture, Santiago Calatrava. He was an architect that started out in art school, I think, I hope I'm not mistaken, then went into architecture school, then to civil engineering. So he was university student for 13 years, and then his constructions are just mind-boggling. The subtlety, the lightness of the structure. When you look at it, you just can't understand. Okay, how does this plane hangar stand up? Like it has a 45-meter span and just a subtle
The
curve,
arch. Yeah.
the arch. Yeah. So he did this for 13 years. He was studying and working a lot, and then the result is an incredible architect.
I think right now you touched the exact solution. The answer to the question is that one of the main reasons, obviously, you mentioned that they still invested lots of time, the apprenticeship and everything, but I think the main thing that helped them become so great is the fact that they developed themselves in neighboring fields. So the different fields that they mastered are supporting each other. And this way, they could integrate the whole thing into one ginormous and very specialized person in a whole bunch of different fields, and integrating those helped them. As for another example that I mentioned, Da Vinci, he was not just an artist, he was an architect, he was proficient in anatomy, he was an engineer, and he integrated all this knowledge into this master of nature, and he was helping the people to understand. So I think the main thing is to develop in neighboring fields that you can integrate into one thing.
I see your point, but how do you know beforehand that it's a neighboring field, that it could help you in your creative endeavors? For example, in music, you see a lot of things that could influence you in designing, and it's like exactly the case that music influenced the design decisions in architecture and in classical architecture mainly. We the ancient Greeks saw the proportions of the harp, and then use those proportions in constructing buildings, because if it's a musical harmony, then it could be used in a visual harmony as well. So there's a connection. It's not obvious that music has a connection to architecture, but when you get proficient in both of the crafts, you see that okay, there's a link between the two. So I'm not sure that you have to choose neighboring fields exactly to be a great generalist. Rather, as you master more fields, you see the connections between them, and you find the subtleties that can help each.
Obviously, yeah, I'm not saying that these neighboring fields are like very similar, like for example, accounting and business management and sales, very obvious connections, but you can recognize some connection. For example, architecture and music, it seems like two different things, but I think there are lots of similarities. Both are creative acts, both focus on beauty. That's the end goal, to create beauty. Both focus on rhythm and proportions. So I think we can say that these are quite neighboring fields, even though they seem extremely different. But obviously, it can happen that some fields like absolutely opposites, and you can create some combinations that are very unique to you, and you can create great value. For example, let's say medicine and law. I heard about a guy in our region who studied both. He finished medicine school and law school, and he is one of the. He has like this company, this office of legal medicine, and which is a very specific field, very valuable work, and it seems that these two fields are like extremely different, nothing to do with each other, but combining the knowledge of that two, you are proficient in a way that no one really is. And obviously, it doesn't mean that one day you are in the courtroom and you are an attorney, and the other day you are a heart surgeon. But creating a company and leading these people, understanding both fields and combining and understanding the problems of each field, you can apply your knowledge in very, very specific ways that would be hard for just a medic and or just a lawyer.
Yeah. I think in some ways, like putting on different glasses with each field. So if you're a lawyer, you put on one kind of glass and you see the world in that way. And if you're a medic, you put on another kind of glass. But if you superimpose these two, you get a specific filter and you see the word in another way. So this could be the one of the more obvious and simple benefits of being proficient in a lot of ways, and just basically being a Renaissance man, to know a lot of fields and to understand the world in a lot of different perspectives. This is the point of learning a lot of languages. Like,
Yeah.
not the point, sorry, rather the benefit. When you know a lot of languages, you know the grammar of all of the languages. It's not specifically that, okay, after the verb you put the noun and the adjective and etc. But the thinking behind the forming of the sentences, it gives you a different kind of perspective and different kind of point to deal with problems. So